Take a good look at your life and ask yourself this question. Was it really your fault that your life ended the way it did? Was it not the fault of those around you who help kind of fix your emotions to go a certain way? Meaning that if you grew up in a toxic household with a toxic family and you were always around poverty and you were taught from your family about survival, and you realize that the world is a very unfair place. It's not your fault that you failed. It's not your fault that you're a loser. It's not your fault that you're rejected and dejected by this evil world. It's the fault of this system that we're in that prioritizes money over the prioritization of the mind and the human spirit. The reason why people are so depressed nowadays is because the world is just designed to make you depressed. Was it your fault that you were born a certain skin color configuration? Was it your fault you were born in a poverty, not having power, not having connections like the rich kids do? This world is, this world, it thrives off of nepotism. It thrives off of knowing the right people. And guys like us, unfortunately, we don't know the right people. And we were around some of the most toxic people in existence, you know? And these people, unfortunately, they help shape and mold our confidence. And if your whole life you've been targeted, you've been harassed, you've been left out to dry, basically, it's hard to try to fit into a society that doesn't accept you. It's hard trying to fit into a society that it just rejects you. It rejects you at every angle. It rejects you as a person. If you're somebody that doesn't like being bothered, the society rejects you. It rejects your ambitions and your dreams. If you're somebody that's a dreamer and a deep thinker, society will reject you. If you're somebody that just wants a cute girlfriend, society will get mad at you if you're an unattractive person for wanting something that can bring peace and happiness towards you. And ultimately, the failure it lies in society. The failure lies in society itself and the system that's set up, this matrix, this makeshift matrix that's on some fake ish. How you can be somebody extremely talented, but because of the system, you're working at a crappy job and you can't figure out how to make money from your talent, how to make money from your goals and attributes. Over a while, this gets tiring. Dealing with years of not having a girlfriend, being touch starved, and dealing with years of just being isolated and rejected, going through so many negative events that just pile up and pile up and pile up, and you lose confidence in yourself. You lose that belief in yourself. You lose that flame and that spark that you once had. And once that's gone, there's almost no returning. So many of us, we lost our lives, you know. We've lost it, you know, to the 9 to 5 job. We lost our lives to school. We lost our lives to all of these corporate systems that are designed to pretty much make sure we never, ever, ever become fully independent. Whether that's fully independent in thinking or fully independent in um, monetization, acceleration. It's really unfair that we had no choice in this world. You know, things were just mapped out and picked for us. Things were just preliminary pre-selected, and we were just thrown out into the world, thrown out into the wolves, and we have to figure it out. You know, excuse me. They used to be one of my aunt's favorite sayings is, "Oh, well, he's a grown man. He's got to figure it out. He got to figure it out." You know, and it's interesting to see somebody who's that religious, and when they needed help, there was no God in sight. Interesting. A lot of us in our younger days, we put our faith in religion. We put our faith in the God of the Bible. But even then, we should have known something was wrong. How this God was evil and quick to go to violence. How come the alarm bells weren't ringing off? How come we immediately didn't think, why would God do that? Why is God so harsh? In the church I used to go to, the pastor always emphasized how God will pretty much punish you or eliminate you or neutralize you if you're disobedient. How God loves obedience. So pretty much it's servitude. It's obedience under threat and fear and intimidation. Is that real obedience, or is that just fear? If somebody robs you at gunpoint and they demand your cell phone and you give it, does that mean that you agree? Or it means you were forced to because you weren't going to throw your life away over a cell phone? So how much more does that apply to spiritual beings who are being held against their will in a soul trap prison matrix? You know, take a hit of this little vape pen. You know, when I was younger, I used to always look at the superheroes, right? But naturally, I grew more attached to the villains. And as I grow older, I see why. Because the superheroes were so unrealistic. They were trying to save a world that was already broken. They were trying to save a world that was already downtrodden. Why waste your time in a world like that when you see that it destroys the poor, it attacks people that, are minding their business, and it prioritizes the assholes, the deviants, and the miscreants to be on top. Yet Superman and Batman, they try to save these worlds. Sometimes you gotta let a city like Gotham City just rot, you know, you know, and stop trying to save it. You know, there was a lot of things that I agree with the Joker on. Especially the movie, the first movie, not the second movie when it turned into a high school musical. Because the first movie resonated with men, so hard. That first Joker movie, it was dangerous for the establishment. You had millions of men that were feeling that way. And we have millions of men feeling, when you have millions of middle-aged, war-aged men thinking the same, that's when the government starts to take notice. But people, they agreed with the Joker movie, the first one, because they resonated with it so well, because it hit on all the emotional markers and emotional sparks. Being a lonely man, being grown, not having a woman, not having a place to call your own home, dealing with all these other pressures, dealing with psychological issues, economic issues, demonic issues, and just deep internal hurts and pain. Something that most people don't go through because most people are normies. Most people, they have normal lives. You know, they wake up, they go to work, they pay bills. And that's it. That's life. There's nothing more to it. Don't question it. Don't ask. Don't ask about those giant bones in that cave hidden by the Smithsonian Museum. Don't ask about ancient portals around the world. Don't ask about what's in space. Don't ask about underwater bases or underwater cities or sea people or interdimensional realms. Don't ask about what's underground. Don't ask about any of our sensitive installations. Just be quiet. Be a good little sheep. Go to work and pay bills and don't question us. And then when you get to the hospital, when you go to your hospice, then we'll neutralize you as peacefully as possible. All that, and they don't prepare us for the spirit world. They don't prepare us at all for what comes next. We really have no clue what happens when we leave this flesh. But expect the battle, because this life was a battle. We grew up in the hell realm, literally. And it's not our fault that this world was created the way it was. We had no say so. A lot of us wanted to be winners. We wanted to be successful. We didn't want to be no damn loser. We never wanted to be no failure, you know? And there's certain people in our families who we don't talk to or associate ourselves with, yet they want to follow us and listen to us and go out their way to try to find our videos and be nosy and try to spy, just like a bitch, point blank period, and you just cut these people off, because these are people who they think they know you because they listen to your videos or whatever. So they already don't like you, so they have this preconceived notion about who you are. It's weird. You know, it's weird when when you're just a lonely guy making random videos on the internet, and you develop some sort of sick, psychotic, weird, weird fans in denial. And it's weird having people in your family find your videos and watch your videos, and it's just weird feeling. It's like, am I really that important? You know? No, it's not that you're important. It's that the demiurge is trying to lose you. So it's going to do the most fucked up thing. You can be somebody, you lose your grandmother, you lose this, and then the demiurge knows. It's not just any family member, it's one of the worst family members. So the demiurge will pick the family member that you don't like the most, and then that'll be the one that finds your YouTube channel, right? The demiurge will have it like you have thousands of people that will find your channel, love your channel, hear what you're saying, and immediately get it and like you. Then the demiurge will make some mentally unstable, deranged person come across your content. Then they lock themselves on you forever. You know, you just can't shake them away. They just seem to just they seem to just like you as a person, but don't want to admit it. So they just turn it into a weird, sick, twisted obsession. And then these people lock themselves on you forever. You can't get rid of them. You can't start a new channel. You can't do any of that. They're just gonna follow you and then say they don't like you, but make videos on you all the time and watch you and watch every second what you do. They say they don't like you, but they watch every video. You know, it's fucking weird. And this world is filled with weirdos and NPCs and hijinks. You know, people like us, we just can't, you know, live in a world where we can just mind our business and be successful. Like we have to comply with bullcrap rules and laws and regulations that make no sense. Some of it just comes out of their arse. We have to bow down to a system that's designed to break us. And that's just supposed to be normal. But the way I look at it is that this world is a soul trap prison. Honestly, that's the way I look at it. This whole earth is not something that I would have chosen and I would have picked if I had a choice. Honestly, I would have picked anything besides this crappy ass world. You know, where you got to play video games. Like you constantly got to put your mind in another damn dimension. That's how I look at video games and anime. Is taking my mind to different dimensions and different ascensions and different retentions. Then you got to deal with the fact that if you're having too much peace in this one, notice this: if you're having too much peace, something out of nowhere is going to come and ruin that peace. So if you're neat and you're enjoying your anime, and say you found the new anime series and you're watching it's making you happy, then out of nowhere your dad's going to get on your ass even more about finding a job. And you're like, damn, just when you found the little peace and little happiness, something comes out of nowhere to remind you that, hey, you can't stay here. You gotta find you a job and get your own place and get your own this and that. You can never rest too long in this world. And then the things that can make you wealthy, let's say if you're good at music, and if you met the right people, you'll be able to do this full time and make a lot of money, get a lot of fans, maybe get a girlfriend, you know, maybe have all these things just because, you know, everybody know rappers have clout once you make it. This demiurge will do everything in his power to stop you. It'll put the wrong people who don't want to listen to your music. So you make beats or you do little raps. Most people in your audience don't want to hear it. They just want to hear you talk and complain because some people are using that information against you. And when you're actually rapping and making beats, they can't really use that against you. You know, it's either good or it's not. They either like it or they don't. They can't really take your words and misconstrue it. But when you talk for 30 minutes, people can try to pick out little things and try to use it against you, right? I truly believe that your haters are going to be your biggest fans in this world. You know, that's for all of us. Whether it's online, whether it's in real life, your haters are your biggest fans. They're the ones, ironically, that spend the most time with your content. You know, most people just look at your videos, click it, listen, and go away and go mind their business. But other people, they claim to dislike you, but they focus you on only you. That's a weird, sick fan obsession. It's like a clinical obsession. I've never been infatuated with a man like that. Never, and I never will. This world is absolutely brutal and ridiculous. There's so many ways that you can fail in this world, and a lot of it's outside your control. Can you make a comeback? Sure, but it's going to be very hard, almost impossible, especially if you're older. The older you get, the harder it gets to try to make your life stabilized than if you're younger. When you're younger, you have so many opportunities, well, not really, but they tell you that, oh, you're young, you have all these opportunities, but when you're young, all the opportunity you have is working a crappy job for 10 years until your 30s. Only a few people get those opportunities to really change their life. But you got to take in consideration, school is not for everybody. No, not everybody is meant to go to school. Some people do better outside of school than they do in school. And some people, they're able to become entrepreneurs without any type of business degree, but they have business acumen. They're able to have a business mind and formulate different types of business ideas, and they're able to create and innovate and become successful. While the rest of us, we were never taught how to run our own business, how to generate our own wealth without the system, how to just ultimately depend on ourselves instead of depending on this wicked, evil world. Sometimes I wish a zombie apocalypse or something like that comes and I survive through it. I wonder how the world will act then. I wonder how this world will act. Imagine like giant monsters around and a big giant scary monster like Godzilla coming through, breathing fire and flame through the city and burning it down. How would people react? Probably mass hysteria, because most people didn't believe in giants and monsters, and they thought ghosts and goblins, they thought it was all fairy tale. They thought it was just make believe. Then when the portals open and the dimensions get more clearer, and those portals open or whatever, and monsters start pouring through, I wonder how people who didn't believe, how they're going to act. You already know they're going to scream in terror, but it's just going to be so satisfying to see that I was validated, and vindicated. Like I told you guys, there was monsters that lived beneath our feet and monsters above us. Hell, monsters that got us in this evil soul trap prison. Monsters, they're everywhere around us, and they'll do their very best to break us down and destroy us, leave us in this eternal inferno void. The corruption in this world is sickening. The way these people in power, how they mislead millions of people and people just fall for it. I'll never fall for the deception. I see through it all. I see through the demiurge's plots and plans. I see through it. I see it coming a mile away. Whenever they plot something, whenever they plan something, whenever they throw up their hand symbols and their Freemason hand gestures. Why do they have secret societies? What's so secret? And why are they making the entire society secret? Well, what the hell is a secret society? Why is there all these billionaires coming together? Why? What are they doing and what are they planning? Because they're planning something that's not going to be for our benefit. It's going to be for our detriment. So what the hell are they planning? I want to know so I can try to avoid it, right? Because right now, the world is a very evil and hostile place. And for people like us who just want to be left alone, the world seems to try to loose you, try to get that negative energetic manifestational frequency, called loosh. And this world will do whatever it can to inflict pain and harm on you. And then when it does it, it blames you and says it's your fault, you're the problem. Not the people around you who disintegrated your confidence, who eradicated your accomplishments, who made you feel low, made you feel small. Notice how it's never their fault. It's always your fault. Even though you had no power, even though you didn't have anything, even though you were the person that was trapped and under a thunder of attack, it doesn't matter. They'll still blame you. They'll still say it's your fault. And you'll still face the consequences of quote unquote your actions. If somebody raises a child and doesn't teach them about financial literacy, and that child grows up and they don't have anything, that child's grandparents, they were broke, their parents are broke, they're broke. Nobody in the family ever owned anything. Everybody that I've seen that got rich, they got it through family heirlooms or family assets that was passed down upon the grandfather or grandmother passing away. They would leave assets to their grandchildren or assets to their children that they could build with. And I notice everybody in my position, we we grew up around poverty and stayed in poverty. You know, even if we had talent to escape, there's always like, we never get the right people to find us that can actually help us. And I mean, like, take you to that next level. You may have people that come because they like hearing you talk, but they don't want to listen to your music like that for whatever reason. Maybe it can spark jealousy. Maybe they just don't care. Or maybe they just rather hear you talk because they want you to say something, try to make a mistake so they can use it against you, you know? You never really know. But if your heart of hearts, you want to do something because that makes you happy, you got to go with that. Even if the crowd doesn't want it, because the crowd, they follow what's popular. If your music gets more popular than your talking, that's what people will follow, right? And it's like, it's funny how people want to hear you talk, but rapping is just talking in a more music a music format, right? But it always be like that though. That's just the demiurge. It's nothing but the demiurge. Because there's certain people out there that would love your raps, that would love your music, that would gladly watch it, that would gladly support it. You release something, they'll buy it. They're out there, but the demiurge doesn't want you to meet them. Instead, he'll give you some weird, clinically obsessed people to watch you who don't want nothing but your downfall. And out of that, only a few people actually watch you and care about you and love you and show you support. You know, only a few people are going to love you and show you support. The rest are just there just to try to laugh at you. They're not going to comment. They're not going to say nothing. You know, they, they don't want to leave any trails, but they're definitely watching you and they definitely don't like you. They're definitely listening to every single thing you say. But they're not listening because they're listening. They're trying to find information about you, trying to piece together where you live at, trying to find, it's fucking weird. You only got a few thousand subscribers. You're not even big. You're not even famous. But yeah, but already you got clinically obsessed haters. Now I see why these celebrities have so much security. You know, you can have people that are extremely mentally ill beyond, they're like the demiurge. Like these people, like they're just as crazy as the demiurge. Their father, their master, their leader, their commander, the demiurge. Psychotic, obsessive, evil, wicked, sadistic. Think that they're not wrong. They justify their actions by lying and hiding their actions. It's just weird. It's when you grow up around toxicity, it's hard to leave its vicinity, and it attacks you viciously and sadistically, and it attacks you relentlessly. It's very difficult to try to escape this crap, man, because because you don't have any type of solid foundation. You need a solid foundation for creation and money acceleration. Like you need time to think, you need time to plan, you need time to try to map things out. Just thrown out into the world and expecting to make it is very difficult, especially if you have no guidance. And as a grown man, hell, maybe you need some guidance in your life. Maybe you need some help in your life, right? But the problem is, you're probably not going to get that benefit of the doubt. You're probably not going to even get that. You're probably going to get more hell, more pain, and more things that are going to drive you insane. It's ridiculous, man. What kind of world is this, I wonder? I mean, we know it's a hell realm, but damn, what is this crap? You're forced to do things that you don't want, forced to be around evil. You can't have too much peace. You have too much peace, there's something that's going to come and break it and make you be out. It's going to force you to be in environments that are there to break your confidence. Going to that 9 to 5 every day, it's abnormal to feel horrible every single day, but it's normal in this world. We have normalized our own oppression. We have normalized our own stress and depression. It's brutal. We normalized our own stress and we normalized it, or the society normalized it, or the powers that be normalized it. And rather than fight back, people just accept it. They accept how it is. They accept what it is, and they just keep going on and on and on. It's it's like what are we going to do when we enter old age? Keep up the same thing, the same format? Wake up, go to the 9 to 5? When are we going to have time to learn about real history, study history, to learn about money, and how to accumulate a lot of money and build businesses, how to find wives, how to have, children, whatever. Just, I don't know, man, just the normal stuff. Even though for guys like us, we know what it is. After seeing this world for what it is, it's like, why have children? We just live in an evil, twisted, psychotic world. Point blank, period.